The story of Mary Virginia Merrick may not be familiar to most Catholics, but thanks to East Longmeadow parishioner Chuck Alfano, the organization, founded by this young, disabled Catholic woman, is bringing the mission of supporting young children and families to Western Massachusetts. In a story produced before the pandemic, Rebecca Drake highlights the efforts of the local Christ Child Society to provide basic necessities and educational supplies to infants and children in need.
It's a familiar story, a child born into poverty, unnoticed by the world. But as word spreads, others of both high and lowly estates recognize the face of God in the child and come to honor the baby with special gifts. However, this story did not end 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem. It continues today through the legacy of Mary Virginia Merrick, foundress of the National Christ Child Society, and the efforts of local parishioner Chuck Alfano.
Well, I was browsing the computer one day, the Vatican website, and I came across her name as being listed under Servants of God. So it intrigued me. She was an American, so I looked it up and I did some research on her.
Mary Virginia Merrick was born on November 2nd, 1866 in Washington, D.C. Devoutly Catholic even as a young child, she became paralyzed as a result of an accident at age 14. Still, at age 20, after her parents' deaths left her to care for her 6 siblings, her desire to serve the poor led her to formally establish the National Christ Child Society.
I was just amazed at what this woman was able to do. She spent 68 years bedridden due to an accident, paralyzed. And in those 68 years, she performed almost miracles in the things that she did for children.
Chuck did more research, contacted the National Office of the Christ Child Society, and worked to form the Christ Child Society of Western Massachusetts, which was incorporated early in 2019. The first activity of this new chapter was a book drive held at Chuck's parish, St. Michael's in East Longmeadow.
We collected over 800 books. And our intent is, first of all, to go through them to make sure they're appropriate. Then we'll set them up by age group, and then we'll give them to children and to schools and to other organizations that might need them.
Local volunteers also have been working on the seminal program of the Christ Child Society, one that helps support children right from the beginning, when they are born. This program began when founder Mary Virginia Merrick, already paralyzed, heard of a young mother living in poverty with a newborn baby.
So she and a couple of her friends decided they were going to knit a layette and provide a blanket perhaps and other things that this woman might need. And from there, from that one individual, today the Christ Child Society nationally gave out 33,000 layettes last year around the country, and it's growing more and more.
As the local Christ Child chapter has continued to expand its efforts to support children and families with books, clothing, and other necessities, Chuck credits the support of his parish and his pastor, Father Wayne Biernot, who in turn has praise for Chuck.
If there's one thing I've learned about Chuck Alfano is that he is an amazing blessing for our parish family. And it's just remarkable to see how Christ's light and love emanates from his heart and humility.
Father Wayne also has praise for St. Michael's parishioners who helped make the book drive a success and who recognize the importance of supporting children and young families.
And so I am very grateful for Chuck. I'm very grateful for all of our parishioners. I'm humbled to serve as the spiritual advisor. And I'm just excited to see how God blesses this kind of kindness and generosity, and to see where the Holy Spirit leads us.
And the Holy Spirit has been at work in the Christ Child Society during the last 2 years, as Chuck and his volunteers connect with other Catholic agencies in their outreach efforts.
We all have the same intentions of helping poor children and helping with their reading, helping young mothers who need support after childbirth.
Looking to the future, Chuck's hope is to increase the presence of the Christ Child Society in the Springfield Diocese.
My goal is to have us involved in every parish in the diocese someday. I hope I'm around to see that.
And as the Christ Child Society expands its reach in Western Massachusetts, the members continue to see the Christ Child in every child. For Real to Real, I'm Rebecca Drake.
The pandemic hasn't stopped the good work of the Christ Child Society of Western Massachusetts. In the last year, volunteers have provided books and arts and crafts supplies for children in Springfield South End and clothing for infants in local shelters and hospitals. The organization now has its own office space in East Long Meadow, and Alfano has been elected to the board of directors of the National Christ Child Society. To find out how you can help the local chapter, we have more at iobserve.org.